Welcome to LifeSpace's Indoor Seed Starting Guide. Today I'm going to teach you everything you'll need to know about starting your seeds indoors. Seed starting is an easy and economical way to get a head start on your growing season. First things first, you'll need to choose a container. Today I'm using these 2-inch fiber pots. Really any container will do. You can find any upcycled container at home, place drainage holes in the bottom of it. I personally like these fiber ones, so I'm going to go ahead and use the 2-inch pots. You don't need something too large to start off. As my seedlings grow big and outgrow the size of this pot, I'll do something that's called potting up. So converting and transplanting my seedlings from a 2-inch pot into a larger 4-inch pot. Next up, you'll need a growing medium for your soil. So take a look in here. This is my seed starting mixture. You can buy a sterile seed starting mixture from any local garden store. You can buy it from us online. You'll notice all different parts of the soil in here. These fibrous long bits are peat moss, which help with water retention. Your white dots in here are a vermiculite. Some blends have a perlite in them, which is a puffed volcanic rock. It keeps the soil nice and loose without getting too compact for the root systems of your little seedlings. And then last but not least, some nice organic matter in there, providing your seedlings with nutrients. After that, you'll go ahead and find your seeds. Today I'm planting nasturtiums, peas, and arugula. On all your seed packs, it will say a timing guide when you're going to start your seeds indoors and then when you can transplant them outdoors. General rule of thumb, there's 2 categories of crops. There's cool season crops and then hot season crops. Your cold weather crops, those are going to be most of your salad greens, kales, herbs, and then your warm hot summer crops are going to be tomatoes, basil, zucchini, cucumbers, peppers. Your seed packs will let you know when to start them indoors and then when to transplant them outdoors. Let's go ahead and start growing. I'll take my fiber pot, fill it with my seed starting mixture. One tip that I like to do is water my soil before I plant, and that way you're not heavily watering after your tiny seeds have been placed in here. I also like to give them a little top water after with a mister. Instead of a watering can, the watering can I find dislodges the seeds with a heavy flow of water. Go ahead, fill all of your pots, your containers that you've chosen. Feel free to use a trowel. I just like to get my hands right in there. Filling these pots pretty full to the top. And the depth of the seed that you're planting, most people plant their seeds, I find, a little bit too deep. It's easy to get excited and plant your seeds really deep. However, seeds often get planted quite shallow on the surface of your soil. General rule of thumb is to plant your seeds 3 times the depth of their actual size. So usually you're only planting your seeds for something about this big. You're only planting your seeds about 1 knuckle depth. And then for even smaller, tiny seeds, you're pretty much just spacing them on the surface of your soil and then lightly covering. These are my nasturtium seeds. They're a little bit bigger. And I'm going to go ahead and plant 2 of these seeds per pot. And the reason why I'm planting 2 is to ensure that I have success with germination. Germination is what we call our seeds when they sprout into our little seedlings. I'm going to poke them just below the surface, just under a knuckle's depth. Cover them with soil. Now I'll show you the difference between those larger seeds and something tiny like arugula. Take a look at how small these seeds are. These teeny tiny seeds are a little bit harder to space than your larger seeds. So I'm going to take a tiny pinch of them and lightly sprinkle them, kind of like you're decorating a cupcake or something. Sprinkle them on top of the soil. And then just lightly cover with one of your fingers. So So you have your seeds in your growing mixture. Last but not least, give them a spritz of water on the surface of the soil. And you'll have to keep the top of your soil moist until you see your seedlings sprout. You'll have to continually water them after that. However, I find the top half inch of the soil dries out quite quickly, especially if they're under bright lights. That brings me to my next point. So where do you plant your seeds after you have potted them up? If you happen to have a grow light at home, that's great. You can place all of your pots under your grow light. And once you see your seeds sprout out of the soil, start with your grow light nice and low, and then as your plants grow taller, lift your grow light if you have that option. And if you don't, it's no problem. You can place your pots on a south-facing sunny windowsill, somewhere where the soil will have the opportunity to get nice and warm during the day, and it has access to some bright light to help with the germination process. And then before you forget, label your seeds so you know what is what. When all your seedlings sprout, they have the tendency to look similar. That's because the first 2 leaves that emerge off of your plant aren't actually their true leaves that represent the plant's pattern. You'll see 2 leaves emerge, and then you'll wait until you'll see your next 2 leaves emerge, and you'll be able to tell from there what's what if you're a little bit more of a novice gardener or advanced gardener. For someone who's a bit more novice, I'd say go ahead and label all of your seeds so you know what is what, and that will come in handy when you transplant them out into your garden. When it's about that time to transplant into the garden, you'll go through a process called hardening off. And this is pretty much taking your indoor seeds outdoors for increasingly amount of time so they get used to the environment outside. So conditions like stronger light, wind, rain, they've been cozy inside and haven't been exposed to those elements. So over a 4 to 5 day period, I'll place my tray of seedlings outdoors. Day 1, I'll start with them for a couple hours. Day 2, increase the length until I work up to the seedlings spending the night outside. And then I'll go ahead and transplant them into the garden when they're ready. Thanks for following along. That is LifeSpace's guide to indoor seed starting. If you have questions, don't be shy to send us an email. Thanks.